Betrayals in fiction. That is what we are talking about today. And I'm going to be honest with you. The reason that I'm making this is I recently got in a pretty heated debate over Star Wars. And what I was arguing is that Darth Vader's rebellion against the Jedi is 100% justified, but the measures that he took in his rebellion against the Jedi ultimately makes him nothing more than a hypocrite, okay? And that was the take. And you know what I was arguing against? No, Darth Vader's bad. This is the last time I try to debate in the comment section, dog. No. That's what's going on here. And then I started going down the rabbit hole of betrayals that, I'm going to be honest with you, either are way too far. I get where they were coming from, but what you did was rough. And then other ones, I'm like, brother, that's not even a betrayal. That's just what a normal person would do, okay? And in this video, we are going to be going over famous betrayals all throughout fiction, from Scar's betrayal of Mufasa, from what Griffith did with the Eclipse. I'm sorry, I've talked about Griffith all the time here, but I enjoy it. And, of course, the betrayal of General Shepard to Captain Price and Ghost. Some of y'all are still recovering from that, and yes, we do notice, okay? You every time I bring up MW2, you're like, like, brother, we know you're still suffering from that, and so am I, okay? That's the truth, okay? And that's what we are covering in this video, okay? If this sounds fun to you, or at any point you enjoy this video, consider a like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get the 5K likes for this video. We've been hitting our goals pretty good. We're in definitely a point in the channel where I'm going to be experimenting a bit more. We have an explained series, we have a tournament series, and those are actually doing pretty good, if I'm being honest with you. So we're branching out with the channel, and we are expanding, okay? Let's try to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and if we can do that, let's try to hit 500,000 before the release of GTA 6. That is the goal, and that's only possible with you guys. I provide the entertainment. All you gotta do is subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay notified. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the most famous betrayals in fiction. Let's go. Scar's betrayal of Mufasa. Okay. When I'm doing these betrayals, I'm ranking them on how justified I believe they were, okay? And I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. Scar had every reason to hate Mufasa, dude. You know what? We're actually going to have... Not quite a crass out. Maybe it is a crass out. You know what? Crass out alert if you're in headphones for if you don't know what that means. I might yell, okay? Scar 100% had a motive to get rid of Mufasa that isn't even, like, that bad. The truth is Scar was the heir to Pride Rock, okay? And Mufasa, the younger brother, usurped him and is now next in line, okay? Depending on the lore that you're getting, it's either because Scar got a scar from hunting, or if you're going to take the live-action approach, it's because they were outsiders coming to Pride Rock. And I'm going to be honest with you, both are bad. Mufasa is literally one of the worst brothers of all time. He is so bad. Oh my gosh, because in the animated, so animated lore has a different one unless it got retconned in live action. In the animated one, the name of Scar, I believe, is Taka. And then that was the name that he had given from birth. He was first in line. And then he went on a hunt, got a scar from it. And then Mufasa and their dad were making fun of Scar and basically saying, oh yeah, your new name's Scar now because you got hurt on a hunt. What type of king is this? And then Mufasa became king. And I'm going to be real here. You never once call him his name. Never, like, it's framed in there. Ooh, actually, I am going to crash out for a second. Actually, yeah, I am going to crash out for a second for something that's about to come up. So let me get this straight. So Mufasa's an asshole, dude. Like, he just is, okay? And it is implied heavily that Scar, I think his name was Zahabi? Yeah. Scar wanted to get with what became Mufasa's woman, okay? And I'm going to be real here. I wouldn't even put it past Mufasa that Mufasa is such a grade A asshole that he specifically got with his wife because he knew it bothered Scar, or at least some aspect of it. And I'm sorry, bro. Bros before hoes 100% indefinitely. You're calling your blood brother Scar because he got hurt in a hunt, okay? And you keep him around for what? Okay? And if this works like how a normal lion pride works, okay? Mufasa is just straight up plowing it left and right, and Scar's just like the lonely bachelor just vibing right there. I'll just keep it real with you. If we're going live action route, and I will do, if we're going an animated route, Scar, do you want the mistake that Scar made? And this is going to sound effed up. Do you know what the mistake that Scar made is? He waited until Simba was 5, or like, able to walk around. Do you know what I would have done? Well, oh, no. I'm gonna tell you what I would have done if I'm Scar. I would have waited until Zahabi was giving birth to Simba. I would have arranged a hit for her in the middle of her giving birth. So I would have taken out the queen, her child, right when he was born, effectively ending his line. And before Mufasa had time to start a new line with another lioness, I would have arranged a hit on him, thus getting rid of the entirety of the Mufasa line in one single day. That is what I would have done. Is that brutal? Listen, I do what I gotta do to beat an enemy that was willing to do worse, okay? You think Mufasa? But I'm sorry, dude. Scar, the only mistake Scar made is he planned this attempt very sloppy. Very sloppy. And I'm sorry, dude. Ooh, here's another one. Let's do live action route. Let's do live action route to make this a bit funner. If you watch Mufasa, the live action movie, which is a prequel and like the retcon for Mufasa. So, Mufasa is the adopted son of Scar's family, right? Scar's pride. They take him in as an outsider, raise him up the entire time, okay? And then they go off because their pride gets taken out by another pride. And they go to find Pride Rock. And in that time, so Scar has no claim to this new land. Mufasa ends up getting the claim because he's able to defend Pride Rock, right? Okay, that's fair. And Scar betrays him because he finds out that Mufasa's trying to get with the very woman that he actively told Mufasa, I want to get with her. Literally within the same 24-hour span that Scar tells Mufasa, hey, I'm interested in this girl, how should I woo her? Mufasa is already on second base, about to clear all of them. He's stealing hard. And here's the thing, dog. Mufasa, that's your adopted brother. He didn't betray you yet. Dude. But Mufasa, at bare minimum, is literally one of the worst brothers I've ever fucking seen, dude. At bare minimum, Mufasa's a terrible brother, dude. Okay? And then Scar betrays Mufasa. Obviously, that's bad, okay? And then this is where I... not quite a crass out. This is what it is. So, Scar betrays Mufasa, siding with this other white lion, okay? And then in the final climax, Scar comes to the good side, defends Mufasa, and ends up getting a scar on his eye. So, recap. Scar, or Taka, got a scar defending Mufasa and literally saving his life. Yes, did they get him in that situation to begin with? 100% I get it. And Mufasa survives, becomes king, because Scar/Taka did come to the bright side and, hey, I'm going to defend my brother right here. Okay? Okay. And now, with Mufasa in here, because they can't change too much because they kept him being named Scar. The reason that Mufasa still calls Scar is, and I quote, I can never call you by your name. I just can't. Then fucking kill him. Then kill him then. Holy shit. Banish him. Exile him. He saved your life and you're just gonna call him Scar so he'll never forget? Brother, he's about to save your life. What are you gonna call him? Scar! Help me! I hope your kid dies too. Honestly, dude, that's where I'm at. Is it justified? He could have been better. It was a little bit sloppy. I'm going to put it, and I get where he's coming from. He's a shitty ruler, don't get this twisted, but in reality, I'm kind of like, Mufasa, you ain't making it that far, dog. No, we would have had this going quick, okay? Joel Miller's betrayal of the Fireflies. And yes, I am doing this one. I know somebody's going to say, oh, well, he technically betrayed Ellie, and brother, every time I talk about Last of Us, there is a slight crass out that I do. Because depending on what medium that you're coming from, it's a different discussion. I'll say this right now. The live-action TV show of The Last of Us, Joel's not just justified. Any argument against Joel being justified is actually hilarious. Because it is implied in the very live-action series that they wouldn't have been able to make a cure. It is implied heavily throughout the entire thing that the cure would not have worked. Even if they were able to replicate it, they wouldn't be able to give it to many people. They don't have the infrastructure to give it to many people. They literally go out of their way to explain that to you. So framing Joel as a bad person for not wanting Ellie to go into surgery, and listen, Joel tried to say no to him. It wasn't like Joel agreed and then had a second thoughts. No. He brought them to him. And then they told him, Ellie's not surviving the surgery. And then he gets that information. He's like, okay, then she's not doing it. She's a child. So he doesn't know what he's doing. And then they told him, you don't have that choice. We're going to hold you, and guess what? Ellie's going to be doing that surgery, and if you interfere with that, both of you are going to die. You put me in this situation. Let's not do that. I'm her surrogate father for the past year. That is a child. She doesn't know what she's signing up for. And at the end, like, the Firefly, dude, they wouldn't have been able to make a cure. They literally wouldn't. In the series, Joel's 100% justified. It's same on the Fireflies for even doing that. In the video game, there is some level of, hey, maybe the cure would have worked. Maybe it wouldn't. Don't get me started on the logistical problems of manufacturing a cure for a literal fucking fungus. Don't even get me started on that, on how that's basically impossible. But you know what? Fine, it's a video game. Whatever. I'm looking too much into it. I get it, but it's all in fun. Okay? Ellie being mad at Joel. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Well, what would you say? What would I say to Ellie? Why did you make the choice for me? I would give up my life for a chance for this to work. You think you're going to be a martyr? You're a child. Live life. Understand what you're missing out on then. You think you were going to be a martyr to them? You think you were going to be like the cure bringer, the fixer of humanity that you never got to see? I'm from that time. It wasn't that good. Yeah, we're in the apocalypse, but guess what? It's something. Like, you didn't understand what we lost. You want to make this idea of like, well, I could have done something. No. You think your name would be in any level of history books as the child who fixed the apocalypse? No, you would have been another cold body in a morgue. That's the truth. They wouldn't have been able to do anything. Well, it's my choice to make. You're a child. You don't get to make that choice. They made that choice for you. What I did was stopping them from that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, dude. I get fired up on there because at the end of the day, I'm like, the Fireflies lose me when they were all of a sudden like, oh yeah, Ellie's not going to survive this. What? I wouldn't have taken her here if I would have been given that information. Oh yeah, but there's a reason why we didn't tell you. Yeah, I'm icing everybody in that hospital, dude. Justified. Yeah, I'm putting him in a justified 100%. The Eclipse from Berserk. I talk about this so much, but at the end of the day, it is probably the most iconic betrayal in fiction. I'd probably give it that. I probably would. Like, the Eclipse is, like, to give you an idea, the Eclipse is so brutal. When it happened, there was like a 2 weeks of silence. So you can watch the entire, like, the original run, the original anime run of the animated Golden Age, and it ends with the Eclipse. So if you're curious what the Eclipse was, I would actually just consider watching that. You can watch the full season for free on YouTube. That's what I did. Loved it. Okay? And the Eclipse is actually censored in that because it's even more brutal in the actual manga. And I don't want to render it down because it basically comes to terms of like, Griffith is a character that his entire character can be boiled down to ambition with no morals. This is a guy who wants to become High King. He is willing to sacrifice anybody that it takes to get to that goal. He does feel some level of sympathy for the people that have died, but how he justifies it in his mind is that I'm the one that gave these people a purpose, so therefore their deaths in my name is actually giving them more purpose than they would have if they lived under their own. Which is one of the best ways to describe how a narcissist, like, thinks ever. I'm just going to be honest with you. So when we're looking at, like, going into the Eclipse, Griffith has fundamentally lost his dream. He is crippled beyond belief. He cannot speak. He cannot walk. He cannot lift a sword. Guts and Casca, with the rest of the Band of the Hawk, his former military, came to him, were able to rescue him, and then they're going to safety. And it is in that point that Griffith summons what is like the lords of hell in this universe to make a deal. Sacrifice everybody that has ever loved or cared for you and put them through eternal suffering throughout like the cyclone of hell in this verse. Or die and your dream dies with you, but all of your followers will be able to live a normal life. And it is then that point that Griffith makes the decision that everybody who has ever loved me has to die for me to get what I want. And the reason that he does what he does to Casca and what he does to Guts is part of the deal that you make whenever you're doing like anything with the Crimson Bailet or the Eclipse, is you have to do the most evil possible thing to sever your bonds to humanity. And Griffith, the Defenders, hear that and they say, oh, well, he had no choice then. No, he did have a choice. He didn't have to do that, but he did it because he viewed it as, these people dying, I'm giving them more purpose than they would have ever have had. And that is how he views it. The devil. Yes, dude, like that, there's no, you can't justify the Eclipse. You just can't. I have to put it there, dude. The Red Wedding. Woo! This one hit hard, dude. Okay, when we're looking at Red Wedding, when you're talking about the Battle of the Five Kings, you're talking about Robb Stark going to war with the Lannisters because the Lannisters executed his father Ned, which was the King of the North. The modern equivalent of this would be if, like, Canada sent over, like their leader, and then before sending them back, we executed them and put his head on the border. And then Canada would have gone to war immediately with us, but then America's fighting a war with all of our neighbors, and then Canada was able to basically capture all of Michigan, which would never happen, by the way. Michigan 411 gang superiority all the way. I'm sorry. Every time that comes up, I have to bring it up. When we're talking about the Red Wedding, this is where I'm conflicted, because Robb is so hilariously naive. Like, it is insane, dude. Like, I want you to think about this. Robb and Ned died because they believed in the better nature of people to an unrealistic degree. Like, I think Jon Snow is a cool character, but Jon bothers me because he has, like, this childlike naiveness to him where he believes in the best of people. If I'm Robb, what would have done if I was Robb? I would have told that war nurse chick, hey, yo, I'm trying to win a war. I'm going to marry the relationship that is going to give me the best chance of winning this conflict. Well, I guess that I'm going to leave. Okay, fine. Fine then. I'm sorry that you believe this is more important than me avenging my father and securing an actual, like future for my people. Well, you don't love me? If she pulls out that line, if she pulls that line out on me, I'm gonna hit her with the, no, I love my people more. My family will die. Everybody that I love will die for treason if I do not win this, okay? So don't be phrasing it like that. Robb's naivety in not seeing that, it bothers me to a degree that I'm like, he doesn't deserve the Red Wedding, but it's like, brother, what did you think was going to happen? They don't like you. They're trying to secure an alliance, and you actively disrespected them. Okay? That is what's happened. That is what's going on. And then the marriage that was brought up, that's when you're getting into the Boltons. And the Boltons were able to survive because they did make the deal. Well, then the Boltons are bad because they made the deal. No, the Boltons were realistic. Okay? I said it for the Scar one. I'll say it again, brother. If you want doing bad stuff, listen. You can either be a good person or you can be the person that wins the conflict. Okay, at the end of the day, that's where it goes into. They had a realistic representation of it. Listen, you can be a great guy. Amazing. You're probably not going to win a war, dog. That's just the truth, okay? War is won by those who are willing, not those that are good. That's essentially what it boils down to. And Robb is an example of a good man that is unwilling to do what has to be done. And what he was unwilling just to sleep with this one chick's daughter. What's wrong with you? Like, honestly, dude, was the betrayal, like, this is going to sound blasphemous. I understand why it happened. I get it. I get why the Red Wedding happened. Do I like it? No, because I like all these characters. And was it underhanded? Brother, it's war. Like, what are we talking about, dude? It's not, I don't like that it happened. It was really sad when it happened. But looking at it just purely how the pieces are operating, Robb Stark's naivety is so dumb. Just sleep with this one chick. Oh, well, my wife will leave me. What happened? They sank your baby in the womb, and you're responsible for the death of everybody around you. At the end of the day, sorry, Robb. That's what happens when you try to be a good man in war. Okay, fuck out of here. Anakin's betrayal of the Jedi. I wanted to separate the next two. Okay, the next two are, well, this one's going to be Anakin's betrayal of the Jedi and Order 66, Palpatine's betrayal. Because I think they are two completely different things and they are done for two completely different reasons. Anakin's betrayal of the Jedi is not just justified. The only thing that I have a problem with is the measures that he takes to do it. I believe the entire Youngling massacre is like, I think that's one of my problems with Revenge of the Sith. Honestly, one of my problems with Revenge of the Sith is I don't like how quickly Anakin immediately went to the dark side, even with Clone Wars. The fact is Anakin went from being an amazing general and somebody that was, okay, they do kind of set it up, as somebody that is willing to do bad things to get the job done, okay? Icing the younglings that quickly is absolutely insane. You literally did not have to do that, okay? You could, like, the number one thing to end is the battle between the clones and the separatists. Ending that right now, and that was what we was able to do, okay? Him rebelling against the Jedi sit upon their ivory towers and talk about order as there's slavery going on in their system, okay? And they're surprised that the betrayer in their midst was a boy slave who came in, and the Jedi are responsible for the death of his mother. They didn't want to promote him, even though he's one of the most decorated generals in the entirety of the Clone Wars. They literally laughed at the idea of him being equal to them, when in reality, Anakin did more than a lot of them did. What did you do with the system that you reigned over? You allowed slavery to persist, okay? And I think Anakin's betrayal, I don't want to put it in justified, but it is in an I get it because I understand why he did it. But the means that he went to get it done is so crazy that it actually, let me ask you a question. Honestly, you can go in the comment section and answer this for me. I'll check. Do you believe that if Anakin didn't kill the younglings, would he have been more justified in your eyes? If Anakin never killed the younglings, never did that, I think he would be viewed a lot different now. I think him doing what he did to the younglings was purely to make the audience view him as more of a villain. Because up to that point, it's like, no, the Jedi had to go. Palpatine's more evil, but the Jedi did have to go. The Jedi had no business governing over people like that. I'm going to put him in, I get it. I think Scar, same level as Scar. I'll put him at same level. Order 66. Palpatine's betrayal over the Jedi Order had nothing to do with the common well-being of the average person because he replaced it with a regime that was even worse for the average person, and you know what, didn't end slavery, actually made slavery much more used. And I think the whole Darth Vader's rebellion against the Jedi is a great way of explaining how, rebellions throughout history that are supposedly for this little guy often get hijacked and turned into something that isn't for the small guy. It makes the small guy fight other people. Okay, that's the best way that I can put it. And I think that's a good way of doing it. Order 66, the betrayal of the Jedi. Listen, the Sith are worse than the Jedi. I think it's so dumb whenever George Lucas wants to come out and say some, I like George Lucas. Obviously, you made the IP amazing. The one thing that I do think is kind of dumb is that he'll be like, well, the Jedi aren't necessarily the good guys, and the Sith aren't necessarily the bad guys. It's like, yeah, but okay, so the Jedi aren't the good guys, necessarily. The Sith are 100% the bad guys. Name one time in any of the movies where the Sith were fighting for something that you were like, yeah, it'd be better if they were in control. I said Darth Vader, but Darth Vader was hijacked by Palpatine, and that's made it worse. We didn't get to see what Anakin's order was going to look like. What Palpatine did, evil. You just gotta put it in evil. Brother, he's just, the most evil dude in the galaxy. What's his job? A politician. Who would have thunk it, dude? Evil. The betrayer from the Doom lore. Okay, I'm still in the Icon of Sin because in the lore of Doom, the Icon of Sid was, the Icon of Sin, damn! The Icon of Sin was created because during the later stages of the Night Sentinel Hell Invasion War, they were in a bitter stalemate. They were able to hold their own. However, there was a death in there, and it was the son of one of the bigger generals within the Night Sentinels. And then the forces, the leaders of Hell, came to him and made him a deal. Hey, we will stop the ever torment of your son in Hell if you basically betray the Night Sentinels and we will resurrect your son. And they did. They turned him into the icon of sin. Okay, that's effectively what happened. And yeah, that's how it occurred. Okay, and we're talking about the betrayer and him betraying the Night Sentinels. I get it. At the same time, dude, come on. Like, I'm going to put it at the top of I get it. But, like, brother, you are literally fighting a war against the forces of hell. I think they tell you, hey, yo, don't be trusting the literal demons and making deals with them. I'm going to put it in I get it, but it's almost bad. Sane betraying Rick. You know what? Here's my hot take. Lori did it. Lori did it. I fucking hate Lori in The Walking Dead, dude. Watch back it, dude. Rick dodged the bullet. I would have divorced her so quick, dude. So quick. Okay, what are you going to do? Take half? We're in the fucking apocalypse. What are we talking about, dude? That's how I feel about it. Honestly, that's how I feel. I think Lori caused all of it. The worst thing that Sane did, honestly, was he got way too attached to a mid-chick in Lori. That's what I believe the biggest mistake of Sane was, okay? And it's like, Rick, what do you think was gonna happen? It's like, well, why'd you sleep with my wife? I thought you were dead! Honestly, bro, like, my bad. I came to the hospital to check if you were alive, and you weren't, and that never gets elaborated on. Like, I like The Walking Dead and all. I roast it, but I think it's a fun show. It does bother me that they played with the idea of Rick Grimes being dead, and then he's able to come back, so he might have, like, a dormant version of the virus. And then it just never gets elaborated on, and it was actually, oh yeah, no, Sane just fucked up. That's essentially what happened, okay? Sane's betrayal to Rick Grimes, it's bad, but at the same time, dude, it's because I just hate Lori. Honestly, it really is just because I hate Lori Grimes so much, dude. Get her out of here, bro. I'm glad she's gone. General Shepard from MW2. This one's gonna ring true, okay? No loose ends. I just gave y'all a PTSD. Y'all just got PTSD from that, okay? In Modern Warfare 1, a nuke goes off in the Middle East, killing around 30 to 50,000 U.S. troops, okay? And the commanding officer over all of them was General Shepard. After that happened, General Shepard, seeing 50,000 of his men get wiped out in the blink of an eye, in the world, all they did was not just watch, they ridiculed, talking about how could General Shepard ever let that happen. And then after MW1, everything returns back to the status quo. General Shepard has just lost 50,000 men. In less than a minute, 50,000 men wiped off the face of the earth, with nothing to show for it, but a ton of flags and a lot of grieving mothers and grieving spouses. From General Shepard's point of view, he watched all of his men get wiped off the face of the planet, and the only thing he has in return is the status quo. General Shepard wants a World War III scenario to break off, so he teams up with Makarov, the one who did that to his men, in order to get his war. That is what he wants. He wants World War III because he wants justice for what happened to his men. And ultimately, he's okay with starting the conflict because he can rewrite the history when it's over. Because all conflicts throughout history are decided by the victor, so therefore, all he has to do is win. Bro, the MW series is so good, dude. I love the campaign. It's so good. Okay, when we're looking at General Shepard, him betraying his men is just, it's bad, but I almost see where he's coming from, dude. I almost see where he's coming from. 50,000 men didn't get to go home, and you want to return to the status quo? No. I am putting people 6 feet under. Okay, I'm sorry I gotta do what has to be done in his mind, but it's still bad. It's inherently flawed, because what he's doing is he's causing more death, more fatherless children. Like, that's what he's doing. I just gotta put him in bad, dude. I just have to put him in bad. Dutch van der Linde's betrayal of Arthur Morgan. Yeah, I think the Arthur Morgan betrayal, and yeah, you could talk about Marston. Dutch van der Linde, I've talked about him a lot. Dutch van der Linde is probably the best example, especially in gaming, of somebody that would rather rule in hell and serve in heaven. This is a guy who phrased his entire thing of, this crew, this gang is a family. And I'm like the father, you guys are my children. And he phrases it like that, but in reality, he likes the idea of controlling other people without being controlled by the U.S. government. And yes, I think people go far in being like, in the games, the U.S. government is the bad guy. It's like, no, it's the Pinkertons, and historically speaking, the Pinkertons did a lot of really, really effed up stuff. I mean, making the Pinkertons the villain of RDR is one of the better decisions I've ever seen. And then when we're looking at Dutch van der Linde, no, Dutch van der Linde is the bad guy because he ultimately craves the same control that he fears that he would be controlled by. He does not, like, maybe that actually makes him worse. He loves Arthur Morgan. He loves John Marston as a child. But he loves them less than he hates being controlled, and he's willing to send them in coffins down under before he's willing to bend the knee and, like, suffer the consequences for what he has done. Okay? And that is what I'm looking at with Dutch van der Linde, his betrayal of Arthur Morgan and basically siding with Micah Bell. Evil. Like, it is evil, dude. Like, it is that bad. What Dutch did to John Marston and Arthur Morgan is that bad. I gotta put him in evil. Sentinel Prime's betrayal of Optimus. Brother, the amount of... I remember watching this movie in the movie theater, and I remember being like, no! Ironhide! Like, dude, that actually effed me up for a little bit. Because in my little mussy, smooth-brained self, I thought that Sentinel Prime can't be a bad guy because he has blue eyes. Brother, that life was simpler back then, okay? Now, his betrayal of the Autobots is kind of interesting because he made a deal with the Decepticons to end this war to continue his species. Because he ultimately saw the humans as untrustworthy. And this is where it's fun. Actually, here's a crass-out session, okay? When humanity betrayed the Autobots, literally in the second movie, I'm just going to say it, Sentinel was 100% right! Sentinel Prime's 100% right, dude! Literally, the very next movie, humanity turns on the Autobots. As a human, Sentinel Prime was 100% justified. He's over here telling Optimus, they are not our people. We have to bring back Cybertron, and we'll have to sacrifice the humans, okay? They do not care about us. They will wipe us out with the first moment they get capabilities. Optimus over here, we lost our planet. Now it's them. This is theirs. We can coexist. No, we can't. Optimus, the Autobots and the Decepticons couldn't coexist, and we're a part of the same species. We have a common goal now, and that is to restore Cybertron. And you would rather side with the humans than us? Bro, I'm sorry. Optimus Prime is the Jake Sully of the Autobots. Sentinel Prime was justified. He was. I was going to put him in bad, but then I thought about it some more. Oh my goodness, no, he's justified. Yeah, betray the humans, because the humans literally betray them in the very next movie after they save the world multiple times. Awful. Koba's betrayal of Caesar. Koba's just a bitch, dude. Bro, I don't respect Koba, okay? Imagine getting your ass beat by Caesar, and he has to put you in your place multiple times because you are just too bloodthirsty, and then you decide to hang around his kid, and then, oh my goodness, bro. And then you over here taking pot shots because you know you can't take on Caesar, and then you do all of this because you got some unresolved trauma with past humans that are already losing. Brother, yeah, no, Koba's bad. Maybe evil. I understand where Koba's coming from, but at the end of the day, brother, Koba is ultimately just a bad guy because you didn't need to do any of that. You just didn't. Humanity wasn't trying to start a conflict with you. You instigated the conflict because you had a tough time when you were a kid. Womp womp, buddy. Cope. Eren Yeager's betrayal of his friends. Okay. Eren Yeager's fall into basically becoming the guy that enacts the final solution, okay? Eren Yeager, this is where it becomes conflicting because Eren Yeager's betrayal to his friends is more or less because he understands what needs to be done in order to secure their lives, okay? Because this is where it gets interesting. Eren Yeager understands that what he is doing is going to continue the cycle of violence between all of these people. And he's aware. But the reason he's doing it is not to stop the cycle. It is to push the cycle back so his friends can live a long life. And he did get what he wanted. He wiped out the majority of humanity so his friends could live a full life before conflict comes back. That is essentially the entire point of Eren Yeager. Is it like a big futile attempt? Yes, it is. And that's the tragedy of Eren Yeager's character. He understands that ultimately what he's doing is a short-term solution for a long-term problem. Okay? The cycle will constantly continue until everybody is gone. And that is the ending of it. Attack on Titan's ending is the perpetual state of the cyclical nature of violence. And that is what's going on throughout these conflicts. One people feels wrong because they come from here. One people feels wrong because they're from here. And they think that they're owed this, but they actually don't get that. And that's this endless cycle of pain, regret, loss over and over again until everybody's turned into a shadow on the wall. Okay? And Eren Yeager saw that, and he realized that this next cycle, they're going to attack us and they're going to kill all my friends. Well, if all death is promised, then I will be the one to push back the cycle and do what I have to do to secure my friends' lives until they can die peacefully. What he did was not meant to wipe out humanity, the entirety of it. It was merely meant to make it so his friends could live a full, happy life. Is it justified? No, but I do get where he's coming from. And there you go. Those are some of the most iconic betrayals in fiction, and me ranking them on how justified I think they were. We got a little bit deep in this video. There were some morality arguments. And looking at some of my videos, you guys kind of like when I talk about like morality. Maybe we can do some historical hot takes. I want to do a debate night in on a Saturday. I think that'd be kind of fun. I want to do some live streams. I think that'd be kind of fun. We have a lot of new content coming to the channel. As you've seen, we have explained videos, tournament videos. You guys really like the explained videos, so I'm going to continue that. We also have a history video that's coming up, and that's going to be really good. I got to feed my history fans. We got some scary videos coming up as well. A whole bunch of stuff, and that sounds good. You please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We're on track to do it. So let's try to hit 500,000 subscribers before the release of GTA 6. That is the goal. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider a like. We're trying to get the 5K likes on here, and I am happy to do what I do, and I hope to see you in the next video. Adios, guys.